This is Harley Hartwell, and you're listening to the Case Closed Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Case Closed Podcast. I am your host, D-Wall, and of course, we have a lot to discuss today. First of all, I'd like to get these mentions out of the way real quickly. I'm sorry for not having this podcast out sooner. I know I promised it would be out a little bit sooner, but there were some complications and some things I had to sort out with our special guest that was supposed to be here that donated from the Patreon page to be able to come on the show, and hopefully we'll have that for you guys on the next episode, so look forward to that. Also, our new Silver Bullet Files episode is right now on Facebook, on the Facebook page. That's facebook.com/savecaseclosed, and on Kiss Anime. So you can go to either one of those and watch the fan dub if you want to. It's a really great episode. It's the second part of the Traveling Troupe murder case. It's the conclusion. So if you want to check that out, you can. It's a great episode. I really recommend it. Also, all of our other fan dubs are also on the Facebook page, as well as Kiss Anime and Infinity Productions as well. You could go to their site, which is in the description below. They released a few fan dub episodes as well. They call theirs the Black Files. So go and check them out. They're partnered with us. So check them out. They're really great. They're doing a lot of good things over there. So check them out as well. It's a really great community over there as well. And we're happy to be partnering with them to make one big community between us both for us fans to enjoy. So that's there for you guys as well. Also, the Patreon page is also active. Thank you to everybody who's donated so far. Every dollar that is donated is going to go towards hopefully us going to another panel next year. That's our ultimate goal, is to be able to go to another panel and hopefully a larger anime convention this time around, one where there is a bunch of other anime companies that are there that we can speak with and talk to about possibly signing Case Closed. And just talk about what we do to a bunch of other people and things like that. So if you want to help us get to another panel, if you want to help us go even further than we have before, the Patreon page is active right now. The links are down below and in the description. You can go there, read the mission statement, read what we're all about, why we are doing what we're doing, and pledge. It is no obligation at all to pledge, but it will help us with getting out better content, getting better podcasts out, getting better equipment for live streams, going to panels, and spreading the word about buying the season sets and buying the movies and buying the specials so that one of these anime companies could possibly pick up the series. So it's all there. All that's there. I could do a lot of explaining, but it would be better for you guys to just go there and read it and help us out. Any dollar amount helps for what we're doing in our cause and what we're trying to do with bringing Case Closed back. So thank you guys so much for your support on that. Thank you to everybody who's donated already. We really appreciate it. It really means a lot to us. I can't thank you guys enough. And again, there's different tier levels on there that you guys can be able to look forward to. And I'm still working on some better ones for you guys as well, because I want you guys to be rewarded for all of the help that you guys have done for us. So look forward to that, and I will let you guys know when those different tier rewards are updated and possibly get even better than what they are now. So look forward to that. It's really something special that I'm setting up for you guys, and I'm trying to plan out for you guys into the end of the year and into 2017. Now on to the topic for today. And the topic for today is the Funimation and Crunchyroll partnership. Now, I told you guys way back when we did the 40th episode of the podcast, way back a couple of months ago, that I was going to talk about this. But again, things have happened and have gotten kind of confused and jumbled up in between those times. But now I'm here to talk to you guys about that and my thoughts on what that means for Case Closed in general. Now, as you guys know, Funimation and Crunchyroll did a partnership. Now, at first, they were two, I guess you could say, rival companies. Crunchyroll did mostly subbed anime and simulcast, and Funimation did the dubs and the simulcast as well. And Funimation is still the number one for English dubs here in America. That's no doubt about that. Crunchyroll, though, is I would think they're number one right now as in terms of subbed anime, because they have a whole lot of different titles. It's not a lot of money to do, and Funimation and Crunchyroll kind of decided, I guess. I don't know whether if it was on Funimation's end more, or if it was on Crunchyroll's end more, to partner up and see where it goes. And from what I'm looking at online and some different communities out there, it's worked to some degree. I mean, some people kind of want to choose one over the other, but more people that I'm looking at, that I've been reading into, have been going with both. And there's no problem with both. I don't have an issue with both. You could get one or the other. That's great. But what we're here to talk about today is, what does this mean for Case Closed? Now, if you guys don't know, Crunchyroll is partnered with Funimation right now, and Crunchyroll has been streaming the Detective Conan series for quite a while now, probably about over a year or so. And they have been doing the simulcast of the episodes, and they've been subbing the episodes from their site, the newest episodes. The backlog isn't there. All the episodes in between what Funimation dubbed and what Crunchyroll is doing now is nowhere to be found unless you go online and check out fan subs. And that's the only way you can watch them. All the backlog is not official. And I don't think it ever will. I don't know. It's mixed at the moment for whether that's going to happen or not. But the point of this is, will this mean, this partnership, will it mean that Funimation is finally going to do something with Case Closed? Does it mean that Crunchyroll will do something with Case Closed? Because in the deals of the partnership, from what I understand it, Funimation will provide home video licensing rights, or home video help, I guess you could say, for Crunchyroll, so that they can put some of their content to home video, like DVDs and things like that. From what I understand it, I could be wrong, but I was trying to look into this as much as I could before this. So that's what I understand it as. Funimation is still going to do dubs, and they're still going to do DVDs and things like that, like they've done. I think that Crunchyroll at one point was talking about having dubs of some of their shows as well. So will this mean that Case Closed is finally going to be treated somewhat more fairly than they have been already? And I guess the real answer to that question is, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, because the way I see it is, if Funimation really wanted to do something with the show, they would have done it by now. They really would have done it by now. Funimation has had that license since they started doing the show in 2004. And for 10, 12 years now, they've had that license locked up tight. And we all thought that in sometime in the near future, their license deal would expire and some other companies would pick it up. But from what I've heard from other places, that license is still there. They renewed the license again, and I don't know why. Now, some people would tell you that they're doing it because they need to make back the money that they lost from getting the license in the first place, in order to offset the costs and things like that. Some might say it's because they know how much that Case Closed is worth and how much of a fan base it still has, and they're just hanging on to what they dubbed and hanging on to what they put out and just go from there and not do anything else with it. So I really don't know. It's a tricky situation, because you think about it and it's like, Funimation has rights to the series, but yet how come Crunchyroll and Hulu and Netflix and Discotek could release these DVDs with the Case Closed name? I mean, even Lupin the Third versus Detective Conan, that wasn't necessarily a Case Closed title, but on the back of the box, if you look real close at the bottom of the box, or the bottom of the DVD cover, you could see where it has the logo Case Closed on it. So even though it didn't have it in name alone, it said it had the original Lupin the Third versus Detective Conan name, but in that on that box it said case closed. So obviously there was something there. Even Netflix, when they have theirs, it says case closed. Crunchyroll, when they put out the press release, it said case closed. So obviously Funimation has rights to some of the series, but maybe not all of the series. And maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's why all these other sites could pick up the series as much as it has, is because that Funimation only had rights to episodes 1 through 130, in the English translation. And then they had the rights to the 6 movies, and that was all they had, and that's all they paid for. And I guess the rights to those cost so much that they can't afford to get rid of the license right now. But then again, on the other hand, with all the other animes they make, wouldn't they be able to use that money to pay off? They pretty much would have the money they need to offset the cost of the license by now. What don't you think? So I don't know. It's like I said, it's a very tricky situation. It's a very different case than a lot of others. I mean, and the other thing is, it's like think about a show like Full Metal Alchemist that Funimation just now their license is expired and they're no longer with Funimation anymore. But then again, that series, Full Metal Alchemist in general, just the original and then Brotherhood, brought in so much money and so much popularity to Funimation, and all of a sudden they just let that go. It's gone now. I mean, the series ended and everything like that, but they kept it around for a while because it was so popular, and that I can understand. But the fact that they keep a series like Case Closed, that they didn't put very much effort into advertising, they didn't put very much effort into broadcasting, they didn't put that much effort into making a big deal like their other animes now, then how come they're keeping that license? And how come, if they are keeping that license and they do want to keep renewing it over and over, how come they aren't doing anything with it? How come Crunchyroll is doing more with Case Closed than Funimation ever did in their whole lifespan? The only real notoriety that Case Closed ever got with Funimation, in my opinion, was when they first started and when they did that whole online campaign when it went viral and it went to their online streaming service, and with the save editions. Those are the only 3 times that Case Closed, in my opinion, ever got as much notoriety from Funimation as it should have got. And that's a shame. That really is a shame. And, Professor C, if he was here, I'm pretty sure he would have told you the story about when he talked to one of the head guys at Funimation, about why Case Closed is not around anymore. But in my opinion, I feel like it's just a shame that a show that good gets the treatment that it did from Funimation, when Funimation should have put more effort and time into making the show more important. Because as I've said it before, if you don't make a show feel important, then the fans and the casual people, not just the fans like us, we'll watch no matter what. Us fans that are you, and that's you out there listening right now, you guys who are fans of the show, who are diehard fans of the show, will watch. You will watch because you love it. You'll watch because you support it. You'll watch because you want more from this show. But for the people who don't know what Case Closed is, they don't know who Conan Edogawa is, they don't know who Jimmy Kudo is, they don't know who any of these characters are, and they're watching for the very first time, what are they going to be invested in? If their minds are tuned into, hey, they're not treating this as a big deal, so why should we think it's a big deal? What is so great about this show when the people who are licensing it, the people who are distributing it to us, they don't think it's a big deal? They don't treat it as that. How come we don't see it that way? So that, I guess that's one of the things that is kind of bugging me, is that Funimation wants to keep a license for a show they didn't do anything with. And, on the other hand, that also goes with, and I think I talked about this before, I don't remember, I had to go back and look through the archives and see if I ever did this discussion on Lupin the Third and Detective Conan and their similarities. But if I didn't, I'll go into a little bit more detail now, and I might do a full topical discussion on on another podcast. But with Funimation, with Lupin the Third and Detective Conan, they came out around the same time. They started around the same time back in the 2004 2005. And Lupin the Third, I remember it was Lupin the Third, and then it was Case Closed right after that. And it was that way for the first few months. After that, Lupin the Third was still on at 1 o'clock in the morning. I remember. And this is just me. I don't know. It may be different for you, depending on where you lived or things like that. But for me, when I was a kid, and I used to stay up late at night, and I used to watch Adult Swim back when it was good. Back when it was good, in my opinion, it sucks now. But in back in the day, it was really good. You know, you had C Lab, you had Space Ghost, you had the Brack Show, you had Aqua Teen, you had all these shows that were really, really great. And in that core group of shows, you had Inuyasha, Lupin the Third, and Case Closed, and those were the big three out of that core group. And anime wise, you had those three. Those were the big three back at the time. And you had Inuyasha at 12 or 12 and 12:30 or just 12:30. It was a mix between those for a couple of months. They kind of flip-flopped. But I remember it was Inuyasha, point being it was Inuyasha first because that was the most popular. Then it was Lupin the Third at 1 o'clock. Then it was Case Closed at 1:30. And then after a few months, after the first 48 episodes, the first 49 episodes of Case Closed aired, it was on reruns for a couple of months. And then, out of nowhere, it was Inuyasha, Lupin the Third, and then it was something else at 1:30. And I was like, where's Case Closed? Case Closed got moved to 4 or 5 in the morning. And I saw this on my TV guide back when it was TV Guide. See, I'm old, apparently. But it was 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm looking for Case Closed, and all of a sudden, Case Closed is next. Wait a minute. What? You know? And it's like, okay, so you move Case Closed to a prime spot when people are going to stay up and watch anime. Because back in the day, you had all those great shows, and then you capped it off with those three. People are going to stay up till 2 in the morning to watch those three. They're hooked with Inuyasha. They stay hooked with Lupin the Third, and then Case Closed rounds out that three, and you're so hooked into those other two. It's like, man, I can't wait for Case Closed. I can't wait for Case Closed. Now, Case Closed isn't around, and it's like, what happened? I don't even know. I don't even know what happened. But that's just what I'm talking about. It's like they didn't give it as much promotion as it should. And in my opinion, if they had kept airing the episodes and they kept giving it the promotion it deserves and they kept giving it the attention that it deserves, maybe people would have actually treated it like more of a big deal back then. You know? So that, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, let me know in the comments. You know, keep it civil, guys. But, you know, I like to have a discussion with you guys about this because I think this is something that really is a hot topic for us in the community right now as to exactly why Case Closed left and why Case Closed was taken off the air as soon as it was, because there is a number of factors. I mean, I think we've talked about this before with, you know, the show not being as notable as the other shows were. And that I can understand. I mean, you're not going to beat out an Inuyasha, okay? You're not going to beat that out. You're probably not going to beat out Lupin the Third either, because Lupin the Third had a following even before in America, because they came out I think they came out beforehand. They were known well beforehand, and they had a good little fan base around them before it got the dub and things, before it went on Adult Swim. Case Closed was a newcomer in town, and people needed to have a good impression right out of the gate. And for us diehard fans, yes, we did. But for the core audience, the casual group of people, they didn't have an idea what Case Closed was. And they didn't have time to. Because after about 6 months, they were already shutting it down to 4 or 5 in the morning. And us fans, we would stay up to 4 or 5 in the morning, or we would sleep early. We would get up, and right before we went to school, we watched Case Closed. And then we got up, and we got ready for school. But, you know, that's what I was talking about, is like that core group of people who don't know what Case Closed was back in the day. They didn't have a chance to know. Now they probably do because of Crunchyroll, Netflix, Hulu, online, fan subs, fan dubs like me, and like what we're doing and Infinity's doing. But in the long run, I think the damage was already done way back in the day. Way back in the day when we could have had that core group of people, and like I said, the damage was already done. So the question is, what do you do? And I think, and that's why we started it. That's why Professor C started this community, was to get the word out that, hey, this is a show that you really have to see. This is a really great show. It has really great characters, an engaging storyline. Even when it's not the black organization, there are episodes here and there sprinkled in amidst all the filler episodes that are really, really good. The cases are intriguing. It gets you hooked. You really want to know who the murderer is at the end of the day. And sometimes even if you know who the murderer is, you're left wondering, how'd he do it, or how'd she do it, or what this puzzle is, or how did they hang this guy, and things like that. That's what is so special about the show. But not that many people here in America ever got the chance to really, truly appreciate that. And that's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that you guys, and for people who are just listening now, who are just getting into this community and are like, hey, I heard this was a great little community about this show. What's this show about? That's what we're here for. We're here to educate you guys on what the show is about. We're here to tell you that this is a great community, that this is a great show to be hooked into. And, we hope that you go out and you buy the season sets, you buy the movies wherever the movies are available. I know some of them are discontinued now. But there are ways you can watch legally, because we don't promote piracy. For those of you who think we do, we don't. But, and I'm not trying to sound rude like that. I'm not trying to sound rude. I'm sorry if I sound rude. But, the point being is there's a way you can watch the show. So, and for us, we have a mission of our own. We don't just want the show back, but we also want people to know how great the show really is, why we're so hooked on it, why there are millions of other people all over the world who are so hooked on this show, that so want this show to succeed in the States and anywhere else. I mean, Japan is obviously going to beat out anything because they've got freaking airports and restaurants and statues and everything over there that's all Detective Conan stuff. And I wish I could go there and visit. I really, really, really do one of these days. Just want to go there and visit and take pictures in front of the statues and take pictures in front. They're even building, if you guys didn't know this, they're building Shinichi Kudo's house in Japan. I looked at that a few days ago on another Detective Conan site, fan site, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" They're like, they're building I think it's a museum built just like Shinichi Kudo's house, and it's unbelievable how that's going on in Japan right now. That is unbelievable. So it's like, good Lord, But that's how big the show is over there. That's how big it is. I mean, Detective Conan, like Conan Edogawa, is the mascot of the police force over there. That's how big this is. And obviously, America's never going to make it that big. America's never going to do any of the stuff that Japan's doing. That we already know. That's a given. That's a mindset that we just have to deal with. But at the same time, we do want this show to succeed. We do want this show to get big. We do want this show to be appreciated. It's just we have to get the word out more. And for me, I feel like we should do more. We can do more. Instead of just live streams and podcasts and things like that, we can go out and show people that we really are passionate about this show, and show Discotek, show Sentai Filmworks, show the Anime Network, show all these sites, all these other anime companies that can actually license this show, that we at least want to see a season 6 or a movie 7 at least. official. I would love for that to happen one of these days. That would be mission accomplished right there. If one of those two things happened, mission accomplished. That would be one of the best things to this community, is to be able to say that we inspired that change. We inspired that movement. That is what the basis of this movement was supposed to be on, and it's still on right now. Just because we're doing podcasts, just because we're doing live streams, just because we're doing fan dubs, just because we want to go out and do panels, that's not just it. This is all about getting the word out that this community, this fan base is strong. It's been strong for years. It's going to stay strong. And we want an official release of some kind soon. That's not attached to any other anime. It's not attached to Lupin the Third. It's not attached to any other anime. We want a standalone, case closed, official release of some kind by some anime publisher sometime. And it could happen. I mean, it could happen. And that's why I push the Patreon page so much. I got a message, and I know I don't want to call anybody out, but I got a message, and it said, why are we giving to the Patreon when we could be giving to the DVDs and the official releases? And my response, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, my response is, the reason to give to the Patreon page is so that we could continue our movement forward. You can buy the season sets. You can buy the releases. That's what we promote here. We're not making money off of the live streams. I'm not making money doing this. I'm not making any money doing the podcast. That all the Patreon money will go towards getting the word out about what we do, why we're doing it, and all these things. We're going to go to a panel. We're going to go to another panel. We're going to go to we're going to make it a bigger panel than we've ever made it before. And we're going to have hundreds of people come out and see what we do, hear what we do, and things like that. We want people to support us and support the series at the same time. We want to promote the official releases, but we want to do it in a way where the most people can hear us and hear our voice and hear us loud and proud. And if that means if it's through a podcast, if that means it's through a live stream, if that means it's through a panel, then that's what it's about. That's what the Patreon's about. It's about our fan. It's about our fan base. It's about the show. So, I hope that answered your question. And again, I don't want to sound rude. I don't want to sound standoffish or anything. I don't want to be that way. I never do. But I want to be able. I'm passionate about the show. I'm very passionate about the show, and I'm passionate about what I do with this community. I'm passionate that I have the opportunity and I have the chance to be the voice of this community right now. I'm passionate about the fact that I can be able to talk with all of you, and that you guys are the nicest fan base anybody can ever be a part of, and I mean that. And I've said that a lot of times, and I mean it every single time I say it because it's true. You guys have been so kind and so nice, and you've never argued. You've never had a very uncivil discussion about anything, and you're always so straightforward and honest, and that is what we love here. And I'm honored to be the voice of that, and I will continue to be the voice of that for as long as I can, as long as Professor C wants me to. He's given me so much help and advice, and he's, let me come in and be this new voice, and I take it with the best possible seriousness I can, with the most seriousness I possibly can about anything I've ever done. And that's what I'm take with this. I don't call it a job. This is something that I love to do. This is something I love to come on here and do every time, is come on here and talk with you guys and hear what you guys have to say, and the live streams, and hear you guys' thoughts and opinions, and And I want to be able to go to these panels and talk with you guys in person. I want to meet some of you. I want to be able to go to these anime panels and talk with you people, see how you guys are doing and hear your discussions and talk one-on-one and things like that. I would love to do a Save Case Closed convention. I would love that. I would love for us to make enough money so that we can actually have a Save Case Closed convention of some kind, whether it be a big one or a small one. And we invite every Case Closed fan from all over the world to come out to be at our convention. That would be amazing. I would love that. That's probably a huge, huge, huge dream. That may never happen, but I would love that because that means we could be able to meet every single Case Closed fan, or at least most of them. And they would come out and they would be able to see what the show's about. And they'd be able to see why we love this so much. And that is something I would love to do if there was any chance at all that we could be able to do that. And we'd be able to meet, we could be able to try and get some of the original voice cast to come and speak on how they love the show and how they got to be able to work on the show and things like that. I would love to do that. That's a huge dream. And it's possible. It's not impossible. It may happen someday. But for now, I'm just happy with being here and doing this live stream and this podcast and doing these things to promote the show and promote why this is so important to us. So I'm sorry for going off on a long rant. This has been a very long podcast. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for joining me again for another episode. I appreciate all your support, all your help with everything. Again, all the links to everything that you need to know is down below. Facebook, our MixLR page, our Patreon page. All the links that you need to know are down below. Our Facebook, our Twitter, our Patreon, our MixLR. All of those social media sites are down below. The link to Infinity Productions is also down there. Check those guys out. Those guys are doing really great work with their fan dub over there. Make sure to watch our fan dub. It's on the top of the Facebook page. It's a really great episode. We still need some voices for episode 130 that's coming up. Case Closed 1992 at live.com. Get those emails in there. We really need your help. We really need some voices. We really need some reliable voices coming up here soon. Thank you guys, and thank you guys to everybody who's already worked on the fan dub, who's been working on the fan dub. Thank you guys so much. We cannot do this without you. We have not been able to do this without you guys' support and you guys' help. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I will talk to you guys on the next episode of the Case Closed podcast. Talk to you guys later.